You're listening to the Veterinary Innovation Podcast.
You're listening to the Veterinary Innovation Podcast. My name is Shawn Wilkie, and along with my awesome co-host, we interview the innovators in this space every week. Ivan, please go ahead and get us started.
Hey, I'm Ivan Zach. I'm very excited to introduce our guest today, Johnna Devereaux. Johnna is a clinical pet nutritionist with over a decade of experience working with dogs and cats, their parents, and their veterinarians in holistic health space. Johnna is also the Chief Nutrition Officer at Bow Wow Labs and helps design, develop, and formulate products that help animals achieve a higher level of health, wellness, and safety. In addition to her work at Bow Wow Labs, Johnna also owns a nationally award-winning holistic pet boutique and supply store, Fetch RI. Johnna, welcome to the show. Thank you for finding the time.
Yeah, thank you for having me.
All right. Well, we are all about innovation here. What is the innovation? What are we bringing to the market? What is exciting? And who are the core customers?
Well, so there's a few things. The first is going to be for all the dog parents out there. There is a huge issue with choking and intestinal obstruction, as you all know, in the veterinary space because of pet parents when they're trying to occupy their dog's time, provide oral health benefits, mental stimulation. And so one of the things we do at Bow Wow Labs is try to innovate in a variety of ways, as you mentioned, but also keep in check safety. So we actually innovated the first ever device that came to market about 5 years ago called the Bow Wow Buddy, which is a safety device, where basically what you do is you put a long-term chew inside the device and screw it down. And what that does is it prevents the dog from that last inch of whatever the chew is. So when they no longer have that tactile ability to hold a chew, they end up taking it in their mouth, and that's when they get kind of bored and they swallow it, and that's where most of the problems come from. So this device is really to help prevent choking and intestinal obstruction for pet parents and the veterinarians that have to deal with those tragedies when they come through.
Okay. So that's one product. And do you have the feedback? And I'm interested always when there's an invention. It sounds really cool. I'm building urgent care hospitals, so we see it all the time. What is the general response? Is there data sort of to say this is really working and everybody should get one? And what is the sort of general approach to the market penetration with this and other product?
Well, so like I mentioned, we started in late 2018. So we were the first one to market to really develop this niche, right? There was nothing like this product in the market. So it's taken a little bit of time, but it really is resonating. I mean, data says that over 200,000 dogs go to veterinary hospitals or emergency facilities each year for choking or intestinal obstruction. So the data that we have is from the pet parents really that have bought this. We've now sold almost 700,000 devices. And the feedback that we're getting from them is that it gives them the peace of mind. Obviously, what's really important is regardless whether you have a safety device or not, you should never leave your animal unattended with any type of long-term chew or any type of device that has a chew, because dogs will always be dogs and try to be destructive if there's food related. So one of our tasks is to constantly educate and inform the pet parent so that they're aware that, yes, there's a safety device out there and it will help to avoid problems, but it's still not going to be something where you give your dog a chew of any sort and then leave the house, right? That's always when the issues arise. So it's a constant education to the pet parents that they can be the best pet parents they can and keep their animals as safe as possible.
That's awesome. So I want to take a step back. So Johnna, tell us how this all started. So we've got the Bow Wow Buddy. We've got a new product, this Epic Chew supplement. But take us, obviously your educational background kind of makes sense that this might have happened to you, but what's the origin story for this company? How did this all come about? How did you get to 700,000 devices out there in pet parents' hands?
So it actually didn't, well, I should say this. So the origin story of the business happened when the inventor, his name is Scott Woolwine, actually had a dog that choked on a bully stick. And he was lucky enough to be able to get to a veterinary hospital very close by to his house. And the vet was able to kind of clear the airway. And so when he was leaving, he said, what can I give to my dog to occupy them and give them all the benefits of long-term chews? And the vet said, just stop giving bully sticks. And Scott decided that wasn't something that was going to fit his lifestyle. So he went home and looked on the internet, and all he found was recommendations about giving bully sticks and vice grips, which is the worst thing you could possibly do, because now besides the choking hazard, you're going to have, dental fractures and cracks and teeth loss. So that is what started. Yeah. And that's what started the task of him going with his wife to really start figuring out how we could provide a safety device that wouldn't cause additional trauma to the denture, the oral cavity. So myself, I joined the company in 2019, and I had also given my dogs bully sticks, and I actually took bully sticks away from my dogs because on more than one occasion, two, actually, I realized that last 1 inch was kind of swallowed, and it was a waiting game of how is it coming out and making sure it came out. And it just wasn't worth it to me. So when I joined Bow Wow Labs, my dogs loved it more than my dogs loved the fact that it brought bully sticks back. That's really what started the device, was for bully sticks specifically. And then when you realize that, everything has the potential to be a choking hazard if it's the wrong size. So when we think about long-term chews, we need to have safety out there for pet parents that are giving yak cheese chews, or if they happen to be giving antlers, or if they happen to be giving, salmon skins or anything, pig ears, any of that stuff. So we ended up redesigning the device to accommodate for more chews than just bully sticks. And that's where we're at today.
Super cool. So let's talk about the evolution. So we've got a new product, the Epic Chew supplement. I'm sure you've had a lot to do with this. Tell us about that.
Yeah. So the Epic Chew is a new deliverable form of supplementation. Most of the supplements that are on the market, or all of them, are either in powder form, liquid form, chew, or capsule. And a lot of pet parents find aversions from their dogs when they try to give them supplementation. So what we decided to do was to provide supplementation in a palatable deliverable that will allow dogs to also chew at the same time. So we're providing them nutrition and the nutrients they need from the supplementation, but also giving them something to engage in. So the Epic Chew is, which I'll show you guys here. I know your audience will be able to see it, but it is a device that actually, or it's a chew, a fully digestible chew that is starch-based that fits inside the Bow Wow Buddy. So it's designed that it has 4 heads with nubs. So as the dog is chewing, it's engaging mentally to figure out how to navigate the chew, but it's also providing the oral health benefits by massaging the gums and scraping against the teeth. And then as they chew down, they're obviously getting the nutrition. The innovative part of the Epic Chew, besides that design and the supplementation, is really the ingredients that we're using. So this is a gluten-free and grain-free chew using arrowroot. Arrowroot is really low on the glycemic index. As a gluten-free, you don't have to worry about the potential for zonulin protein and the potential that may have with gut intestinal permeability. And it also, in at least human research, has shown that arrowroot is really great for sensitive stomachs and in humans, at least, that have IBD. So you think there might be some correlation. It has decaf green tea that's going to be high antioxidants. It has kelp, which has enzymes that help to break down plaque and also prevent certain bacteria from forming in the oral cavity. Kelp also helps to boost glutathione levels, so it's really good for the immune system. And it is also obviously a rich source of iodine. So for any type of animal that has a hyperthyroidism type of disease, this would not be an appropriate chew for them. And then it has spirulina, which is probably one of my most favorite ingredients ever on this planet, as an anti-inflammatory, antioxidant, high in protein, and loaded with vitamins and nutrients.
Awesome. So our audience is a lot of veterinary industry people, a lot of vets, a lot of corporate groups that listen to our show. How do you guys interface with the veterinary market specifically, besides trying to prevent some of these urgent care cases that make their way in with choking? How would you like to engage with our audience?
So we would love to engage in your audience. We're still kind of young as a company, and we haven't quite found the right avenue to do that. We're in Series A funding mode right now. So one of the next steps on our list is to get into the different, at least trade shows that the veterinarians go to, so we can start showcasing and sharing what we're doing with the hopes, especially with the Bow Wow Buddy, to get that into veterinarian offices. I think it would be a really great kind of upsell for them when they have a dog that comes in with potential of choking or intestinal obstruction. Parents will be pet parents. And even though they spend thousands of dollars for an intestinal obstruction, they still want to occupy their dog, and they're still going to give their dog those things that might have just caused that hazard. So having that as a tool in the office space, I think would be a really great benefit. So we are working on it. If there are any people out there that are interested, we can always work through and open up a channel sooner rather than later by just reaching out to bowwowlabs.com.
That's the right platform to be for this. So lots of them will hear about it. So what do the dogs say about this new chew?
Woof, woof. Ivan, come on. What kind of question was that?
So you said that the remarkable penetration to 700,000 with the device. How about the chews? Do people come back? Are they repeated buyers? Do you have any information on how do they accept it?
So we just launched the product in early March. So we're still new to market, but we do have plenty of pet parents that have already started a subscription where they are now coming back to buy it regularly. We have gotten very, very good feedback that dogs are finding it highly palatable. We do have beef liver in there as a paladin, but I also have found in the years that I've been doing this that dogs really like the taste of spirulina because it is high in protein. And I obviously don't know what it's like to be a dog, but they seem to really love the taste of the spirulina. So I have to say it's taking off really well. It's been successful so far. We're happy with the results. We've met our goals to launch. And what we're going to be doing is down the road also having different supplementation form to support, the musculoskeletal system, the integumentary system, the digestive system, et cetera, et cetera. So this is just really the first of what's going to be a line of a new deliverable form of supplements known as the Epic Chew.
I know this will be a very subjective kind of question, but did you have any sort of testing how long one of these lasts? Because the one thing that parents want is long sort of engagement with this type of treat. So when they're gone, the dog has something to play with for a long time. So I know that some dogs can devour any sort of bone within 30 seconds, and then some, will gnaw on it for months. But is there any, initial market response on how this works?
So, Johnna, sorry, just a second. I have to interrupt Ivan. Haven't you been listening, Ivan? She said that you're not supposed to leave your dog home with the toy because that presents a choking hazard. So anyways, I just wanted to jump in and say that. Sometimes he's just not clued in.
So we actually, you kind of hit all the points, Ivan, that I was going to make. It really depends on the animal and the individual in front of you and what their chew style is, if they're an aggressive chewer or a gentle mouth, as we call them. We did do a study with beagles, and I think it was 40 beagles, and the average chew time was between 20 to 25 minutes, and that was for like between 30 to 40 pounds. So some of the beagles were slightly overweight. So I don't know what that tells us. But so that is the general average time. Now, I will say, if you have a voracious chewer, you're probably looking more between 8 to 10 minutes. And we have had some people that have come back saying that they're giving it to their dogs over several days. So it really depends on the dog itself. It is starch-based, so it is going to break down, depending on the size of the dog. So it's not a one-size-fits-all. We have 5 different sizes depending on the weight range of the dog. So that's supposed to obviously help to extend that chew duration. But I'm calling it a longer term chew rather than a long-term chew, because when you say long-term, you do have that expectation with the pet parent that it's going to meet a minimum set duration time. And I just don't ever, when I say I mean we at Bow Wow Labs don't ever want to set anyone's expectations up to then be let down.
Okay. Well, what is the big dream? This is out. How do you see this product evolve? And if all veterinarians in the world heard you, which is this channel, they're all in the world, they listen to us, then what is the dream and sort of 3 to 5 years where this is going, and what other lines of products, or maybe what's inside of this particular treat is?
So this is going to sound hokey, but and I think the dream really is that we can prevent dogs from preventable tragedies, and choking and intestinal obstruction is preventable. So if we can get our safety device into as many homes as possible, we can at least prevent that tragedy and leave veterinarians the things that are not preventable. And the long-term plan, we are designing several more chews that are going to fit safely inside the Bow Wow Buddy. That's one of the downsides, is that it doesn't fit all the chews that are out there, obviously, because it is a specific dimensional hole on the inside. So we're coming up with a line that we're calling Safe Fit chews that will basically cover a variety of either yak cheese chews and manufactured chews like the Epic Chew. That will all fit inside to provide that variety for the pet parent, because it's more the pet parent, I think, that gets bored with with treating than the dog itself. So it's just to keep them engaged and keep them excited. And then we're, as you can tell from the Epic Chew, we're also going down the supplement road as well.
Super exciting. So if people are listening and they want more information or they want to buy some of the products, how do they do that?
They can go to hello@bowwowlabs.com if they're a veterinarian and are interested in bringing it into their office. If they just want to get more information, they can go to bowwowlabs.com.
Awesome.
So it's BOWWOWLABS.com.
That's great. Well, listen, thanks for joining us. We're out of time, like always. We've got a couple of questions that we use to wrap up each episode. First is YouTube, video, TED Talk, book, something you found inspiring on your career journey so far.
So I've been inspired by Psycho-Cybernetics by Maxwell Maltz. It is really about the idea that our brains are hardwired to deliver in our life anything that we set our mind to. It's the idea that it just keep recalibrating. So if you have an end goal and you focus on that end goal, your brain will recalibrate and find that way to get to that end goal. And that's just the way that I've lived my life. It's a phenomenal book. Whether you're successfully retired and happy or not, I think there's always something that someone can glean from that type of information.
That's interesting. I want to read that book because I truly believe in that. And I call it sometimes the red car syndrome. If you just bought a red Civic and then you look around, red Civics are everywhere. And then that's what I think about the goal setting. If you have a certain goal, then everything in your path, well, you will pick out that information out of the noise that will help you to achieve that goal and everything that goes towards it. So that's very interesting. Looking forward to read that. Second question that we usually ask, is there another innovator in the industry that you would like to recommend for this show?
I think Dr. Rob Silverman or Lee Carroll, they're over at realmushrooms.com and they're doing some amazing, Dr. Rob Silverman is a veterinarian. Lee Carroll is not, but he's very well read as far as his degree with all of his education and research and whatnot. And they're doing just some phenomenal stuff with mushrooms, therapeutic mushrooms. And I really do think that is the way of the future for human health, cat health, dog health, just overall immune health and everything else, anti-cancer, all of that fun stuff. So
thank you so much for listening to the Veterinary Innovation Podcast. If you want to hear about our new episodes, please follow us on any social media channel. Also, you can check out our website at veterinaryinnovationpodcast.com. See you next week.